I did it. I turned my stock Super73 handlebars and headlight into a wall hanging lamp. A few weeks ago, I made a video about how I was trying to get this headlight to plug into my wall so that I could turn it into some sort of wall hanging lamp. Now that video wasn't received very well. It didn't get a ton of views. Also, I didn't complete the project, but it still served a purpose. That's right, it caught the attention of a few of you and you reached out to correct me on what I was doing wrong. A notable company that reached out and came in clutch is Luminade. They're a Super73 accessory company. They make headlights. You might remember my turn signal kit video. They made that. Well, they told me that the Hygo connectors I bought were garbage. These ones that I bought off Amazon were wired weird and were just fouling me up. Luminade must have a few Hygo connectors laying around because they sent me one that made this light work with the power supply that I bought, but they also sent me one if I ever want to take this thing on the road, I can go battery powered, because they do offer a battery powered solution for those bikes that don't have that 12 volt power option on them. So thanks a ton, Luminade. I also need to shout out a friend of the channel who helped me out with some of the wiring schematics so that I could turn this thing off and on and use this spare on switch that I got when I bought my cane built light. Anyway, I didn't want to remake my last video, which was of me struggling trying to figure this thing out. So what I'm going to do is just show you what I did to get this thing to work. Okay, so let's get some close-ups on how I hooked up this stock headlight to my stock Super73 handlebars. As I mentioned earlier, I had an extra on-off switch left over from my cane-built headlight installation because I got the one with the halo ring, but they decided to just send a simple on-off switch as well. So that's actually what inspired this project. The other problem that I faced was how to attach the headlight to the handlebars. The bracket that this headlight was mounted with was broken in a slow speed accident. Nobody got hurt except for my headlight. And so I just opted to do the zip ties. Now this thing isn't gonna win any beauty awards on the back here, but luckily it's pretty much hidden by the headlight. And this is gonna be hanging on a wall anyway. So as you can see on the bottom there, I have some zip ties through this little notch in the light, but then I also have some bigger zip ties that hold this at a horizontal level in place. But that should do the trick. All right, let's look at how I hooked this thing up. So Luminade hooked me up with a Hygo connector that looked similar to this, and then my stock headlight Hygo connector looks like this, and they just plug in, and that's how the connection is made. Now I actually pulled this one off of the cane built switch, which I wasn't originally going to do, but I just cut the heat shrink tube and removed this. So when I dismantled the cane built Hygo connector, it exposed this red wire and this blue wire. And because this is a switch, the switch breaks the connection when it's turned off. So as the power flows up through here, it goes up the blue wire and back down the red wire and then into the Hygo connector that Luminade sent me. So when it's on, it completes the loop, but when it's off, it breaks the connection and the light turns off. So this piece right here, this piece came with the power supply that I bought, but being able to just plug into this adapter makes it a lot easier to move this light around without tripping over the long power cord that's coming out of it. I know there's a lot going on back here, but maybe this angle will help you better visualize exactly how I hooked this up. So we've already talked about this blue wire. It's plugged into the positive side of the adapter that runs up to the cane built switch and it completes the circuit to this red wire here. Now the red wire is connected through this connection that I bought at the hardware store, and it is actually connected to the red wire which comes out of the Hygo connector that Luminade sent me. So this was necessary to wire in the switch and create that relay, so when I turn the switch on, the positive current is running through the system. When I turn the switch off, that connection is broken, as if I were to pretty much just unplug this connector on my own. Now, coming straight out of the Hygo connector that Luminade sent me, right into the adapter is the negative side. And that's all I had to wire up. This white wire right here that doesn't go into anything, that's the ground wire, and we simply just don't need it. So that's how the connection is. Also on the back side here, you can see how I have connected it with these zip ties. If you're watching this and you have a better solution, then I would love to know in the comments. That's the nice thing about these zip ties, is it's nothing permanent and I can switch it around at a later time. And then all I have to do is plug in the power supply that I bought from Amazon. I'll link it in the description below in case this is a project that you want to work on. And now I have a working light. So what does this thing look like as maybe a wall decoration, or what the heck would I even use it for? So conveniently in my office, I have some guitars. I'm gonna use those guitar wall mounts as my wall mount for my light, just for testing purposes so we can see what it looks like hanging on the wall. I think it looks pretty good. Now with those guitar mounts, it does add a little bit of bulk up there. Maybe you could get some hooks and level it nice so it's just kind of floating there. You could also do some mounts behind the light if you wanted to, so you didn't have to drill too many holes in your wall. Also, you know, it is a light, so there is that cable hanging down. So maybe it might look better kind of propped on a shelf or something over here. We can see how that looks as well. But where this is up higher, then it gives the light more functionality. So let's turn it on and see how it looks. Okay, Google, turn off office lights. Whoa. So it creates kind of this interesting pattern on the wall. If you're still running the stock headlight on your Super 73, it does have like this half moon shape that it projects on the road. So it's actually lighting up two areas, and that's probably coming from these LEDs right here in the middle. Now the halo light, if it was just that in the light, that might be a little bit more conducive to like an indoor setting. My thought for this thing is to make it more of a shop light, maybe spotlight something that I'm working on, because this filament or these LEDs in the middle here, it actually splits your headlight. So you have light shooting down on the road immediately in front of you, and then a beam of light a little bit further out. That's that half moon that I was talking about. But if it just had the halo, then that would be a nice ambient light for a room. Anyway, I still think it looks pretty rad, and it was a pretty fun project. And it does create plenty of light down here in my office. But like I said, I think I'm gonna put it where I work on my bikes. I mean, that will help out in working in some dimmer lit spaces when I'm working outside. And this is how it would look if it was propped up on some sort of shelving or something like that. Put that on. It is super bright. This is a DOT safe headlight, so I mean, it's not meant to be indoors, but maybe you could get creative. Maybe instead of using the Super 73 headlight, you could replace it with some other light and just really tone it down a little bit. It was definitely a worthwhile project, and it was cool to get the community together to help me out. It was a pretty simple concept, and I knew what I needed to do. It was just the unfamiliarity with the Hygo connectors that was throwing me off. Let me know what you think of this thing. Is it something that you would do with your spare parts? I'm interested to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. But in my opinion, any project that's creative is worth doing. So I had fun. I hope you liked this video. If you did, go ahead and hit that like button. I've already asked you to comment, but if you like this kind of content, hit that subscribe button down below, and have a great rest of your day.